The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everybody, we're about 1 minute until we get started. Just drop some messages in the chat. Let me know where you're from, if you're having a good day, what you're ready to learn. And just let me know that the sound is all okay and you can see the Convertri page. Sound is good, all visible. Got a wide range of people: Scotland, Colorado, Ponchos. I butchered that. I haven't heard of that country before, or Ireland. Montreal, Vancouver, very wide range. Hawaii, long way. Awesome. Okay, we're getting up there in attendees. I'm just going to give it a minute or two. As you are the first people here, what I want to do is give you the opportunity to pick what we go through first. So we've obviously, in this webinar, we're going to be covering menus and we're going to be covering actions and events. So if you want to go into the menus first, then just put menus. If you want to go into actions and events, put actions. Okay, coming through, we are getting slightly more on the side of menus, which is completely fine because the menus is quite a bit shorter than actions. So if you are preferential to the actions part of it, you're not going to have to wait that long. Okay. Paul, happy to answer that question. If you've not been on one of my webinars before, I always have a section at the end where you can ask whatever you want. We'll try to go through it. I'll try and work through it and let you know what's going on. So yeah, feel free to keep that to the end, just so I can keep on topic with what everybody else is expecting. Okay. Oh, early bird, Australia. Welcome. France, not far. Okay. Where are we? Okay, we're about 2 minutes past, so I'm not gonna mess about here. So yeah, generally, it was menus first, so we'll go over that new menu feature. And then thank you very much for tuning in at 4 a.m. Well done, you. And a beautiful place Hanoi is as well. So yeah, again, if you haven't been to one of my webinars, I do try and make sure every voice is heard. So if I jump in and out to messages, then I will do, but I'll try not to ruin the experience for everybody else. Okay. So we're going to start off with the new menu feature. Okay, so the new menu feature can be found over here on this left-hand side, obviously denoted by menu. Okay, so we can pop that up there, and then we've got two options here from this drop down, which is one which is a link and another one which is this sub menu. Okay, so a link may be, and again, if you haven't seen one of my webinars, I've been using this domain, which is convertri.xyz. So I'm just going to put that as my first link. Okay, and that would obviously be my home page right there. Okay. Oh, I have slightly spelt that error. Okay. And we have then got Let's say that we were going to do a drop down. So let's say that this would be sub menu and this would be services that you offer. Okay. And then we've got add items in sub menu. Okay, so your sub menu then would be just for the sake of my sort of style would be like websites, marketing, social media. Okay, if you have any extras, you can obviously create another one, or if you don't need this one, you can obviously delete it and have as many as you specifically need. Okay, so in this case, I wanted them three there. And then you can obviously see it's just going to remind you that the link isn't set. So if I wanted, for example, now normally you'll have two situations that you're told to do this. Either you can have all your pages ready and you can know what all your links are beforehand, or you can pre-process it in your brain sort of and go, well, if this is what my domain is and it's going to be websites, then I'm going to have it like that. I'm just going to have dash websites on the end, and the same, I'm going to have dash marketing on the end. Okay, and then social media, what you just want to be aware of with a two-word option is, are you going to have it like that, or like that with one word effectively, or are you going to have it with the hyphen in the middle? Okay, and just when you create these URLs is when you do this part. When you publish your page and it says your page will be available at virtually.xyz, and then so if we had the social media and then I put a space, it's automatically going to put that that slash there. Okay, that dash between the social and media. If I type it exactly without that, then I'm going to get that link. So when if I publish that page, that would be the URL that you're going to get. So you could go through this and you could go where you go, right, whenever time I create a page, I'm just going to save it in a notepad or however you like to work. Yeah, so that when you come over to your menu, you can just go over to these links. I imagine at some stage maybe you can maybe there will be an advancement where you can have a nice little drop down here, and it might be able to pick your range of pages within your funnel, which would be really nice. I think a lot of people would agree that would be a nice feature, but at the moment you've got to physically know your URL that you're linking to. Okay, so apart from that, we will put a contact us on here. Just keep it short because there's no point duplicating what I've already said, because the main features are a sub menu and a standard link. So again, we would have the virtually.xyz, put the full URL in there with the HTTPS, and then you would have the contact us however you specifically save it. Okay. For SEO, because Terry's just asked, for SEO, yes, the best way is to have the dash in between them, because then it makes it easier for Google to read. There may be a case, I mean, Google's pretty damn smart as it is, but it makes it a lot easier to read if you've broken your words up. There may be some cases where your URL, if it wasn't broken up, Google could associate it with other words because one word created another word. You know, if you have an extra S at the end or something like that, and that makes another word of what you wanted. So it was like, okay, bad example. I'm not going to say that. I was just going to say if it said cars hit, and you can figure that one out. Okay. If there wasn't a dash, there could be a problem with that URL. So yeah. Okay. So glancing over that. Now, what you also need to understand, if you have a menu on a page, you've got to have something else on the page. Because if I save this now and actually go and preview it, so if I preview this and I do this drop down here, that's fine. I think it was mobile view actually, sorry. Unless they've fixed it in the last few days. Okay, so you can see that it's just not actually showing the menu at all. And the problem is because there's nothing else actually on that page currently. Okay, so what you have to have some sort of content. And now normally this isn't going to be a problem for most people, but it would be if you're just like, okay, well, the first thing I'm going to do is build my menu, and you build your menu and then you go, hold on, it's not working in mobile. And it's not working in mobile because it doesn't have anything below it so that the menu can drop down. Okay, so if I preview this now and then swap this over into mobile, so you can see that the menu is there. Oh, let me publish this so I can actually view it properly. Actions. And this is worthwhile doing if you haven't really messed about with or really thought about the true process of why there is a save and a publish. So there is save and publish. If you haven't thought about why not just press publish and let it go, the save is, let's say that you've got something that you want your web page to come to be ready for. An example would be Valentine's Day at the moment. So you want your website or your page to be ready for Valentine's Day for a special offer on Valentine's Day. You want to spend the end of January building that page and getting it all ready. Well, what you do then is you save and you don't publish it. But when you want to go live with that special offer, or you want to change your branding over to that Valentine's branding, that is when you're going to actually publish it. So you can safely work on your page on the basis of just saving it. And then publish when you actually want it to go live, which is a very useful feature as an example like Valentine's Day. But it is also very useful to publish and view a page without this preview limiter bar on top of it. And also when you publish it like this, you can obviously pull out your mobile phone and go to the actual URL and check what it looks like there. Whereas you can't do that with a preview URL. Okay, so if we go in there now and try and view this menu, you'll see that we can easily visualize that menu. If I remove this here and then save it and publish it again, I'm just going to go back and refresh. Okay, and then I'll click down on the menu. Oh, they might have changed that. They might have sneaked a patch in. Either that or it wasn't updated. Yeah, it looks like they've put a patch in for that. So ignore what I've just spent 5 minutes explaining to you, because there was a few people who had that problem, so I wanted you to be aware of it. And there was no note that had changed to me, so I'm sorry for going through that. But it seems that it is now working correctly. Okay. So this is only over there because I was in mobile view. You can see that it comes out correctly. Again, this action at the moment on the menu, for anybody wondering, this action is always going to open up a new page. Okay, so it's always opening up new pages. Whenever you click on a menu item, at the moment it is always opening new pages. Now, as far as I'm aware, the standard updates on Tuesday, this should be changed so that it opens in the same tab. Okay, so you're not opening multiple tabs. So for anybody wondering that this isn't currently very user friendly, it will be changed so it is in one tab from Tuesday. Okay. So the element, you've got your standard element properties over here. So your menu items there, the style, font style, color background. So the background will affect the boxes themselves, okay? And then I believe there is another background down here, okay? And that background will affect the actual box itself. So whatever this box is set to, that is that background. So the background that is here is the actual background. The menu properties is the background in these little boxes here. Okay, so you can see there, if I have red there, then that is the background for them elements specifically. Okay. When the new update comes in, no, it won't open into new tabs. It will only open in the same tab, unless they've prepared a hotfix that allows you to do both. But as far as I'm aware, the biggest complaint was that it's opening in new tabs, and obviously most people don't want it that way. I can understand why people would want it to open in a new tab in certain circumstances, but they have stated that it will only open in the same tab at the moment unless they get requests to say otherwise. Unless there is a change to that on Tuesday, just keep an eye on the group and on your standard Convertri email, and they'll tell you on Tuesday that change has happened. Okay, so this is mainly boxes on here, and then you've got mouse over for any changes here. So if you wanted the button to be a different color, specifically when they actually highlight it, and I'll show you what that looks like. So now whenever you highlight over things, you can see it in that way. And also the color that you set on these buttons specifically will also be the color that is set for your drop downs as well. Okay. So you've got your font sizing, font weight if you wanted it bold, and then your font families if you wanted to change any of the specific fonts. You've got the border. Now, if I remove this background here, it comes with a standard border on it. Okay, can you see that border on there? So there's this border that is always on the menus. So if you're doing a design and then you go, where did that border come from? That's how it comes when it's created. Okay, so if you want to get rid of that, just go over to the border and then select a transparent. Okay, you can also turn the border width down to 0 if you wanted right here. Okay. Pretty much that is the main features of the new menus. Does anybody have any questions for that portion? The green is on the menu properties, and it's on mouse over. Okay, so you've got two settings. You've got the general settings of what it will look like as you see it on the page when it starts off, and then you've got your mouse over settings where you can also make it bold if it was normal, and change the text color or the background. You can't change the font family there. I think it would be quite confusing if you did, but there's just a few basic options that finalize that sort of design for when somebody hovers over them, just to know that they are highlighting a specific one. They can't be saved at the moment, but you can take this. So if I save this, publish, and then, so this is, let's say we were then to go in, and this is a great question, thank you, John. This is the point of the menus, you know. So you want to then go on and have exactly the same menu on your Contact Us page. That was one of the other pages that I created, or I said that was going to be on the menu. So there is the Contact Us, and I'm just going to bring that over onto that page. You can just see here, you can see this little red box here. This is for the 4th item in that list. So if I remove that, then that's not going to be there. Okay. So if you do have any extras, any extra menu items, then just remove them. And then when you want to put it onto your other pages, you're going to clone it and go to clone element to another page, and then select your target page. Normally I would go with bottom, just so you can know where it is, because if you have it in its original position, it may overlap something or underlap something, and it may cause confusion. So you may want to go at bottom. Obviously, the page I've just created had nothing on it, so I'm just going to go with original. Okay. Yeah, you have to clone it to all pages that you would want to use it onto. As far as global elements, that is something along with the collections. With the collections, that is something that will be incoming, but there isn't no specified date on it. So here is the Contact Us, and again, even though I cloned that over, for some reason you can see that this extra box that I just removed has come back to haunt us. Oh, my bad. Save. Menu 2. I just want to check the links are all in place. So this is the advantage of being able to put it onto other pages. You don't need to reformat all of this. You don't need to put actions and events into place where it would give you this drop down. You don't need to worry about any of that extra stuff or recreating all of these links within the menu. All you've got to do is clone it to your other page. Okay. So there we go. And it's all exactly the same functionality as it was on the first page. Yes, you should be able to clone it to other funnels. So if you want to clone it to a completely other funnel, you would go to clone element to another page, and then where your funnel is here, you would need to, depending on if it was on a different domain, obviously select the specific domain, and then select the funnel related to that, and then you can select the page. So if you have it on a different funnel, or if you want to apply it to a different funnel, you can do that. A standard width. So I understand what you're saying is that you would want the home button to be exactly the same width as the services button, exactly the same width as the Contact Us button, etc. Is that, I believe that's what you're saying, right? Yeah. I think my answer is going to be no. How could you hack this? I don't think you can. I don't think I can even think of a hack that would do it. I guess. Let me try this. So that is home, and it's 3 extra characters. So 1, 2, 3. No, that's not doing it. No. I was thinking if you extended the length via spacing, then that would do that. Obviously, you could do something like that with a down slash below, but you obviously don't want to do that. If there was some character that was invisible, like a space, which I'm not thinking of now, then obviously you could do that, but it actually has to count, and you would be able to just kind of hack away at it to get it to a set sort of size like that. As far as positioning, there isn't any positioning that allows you to set the specific width of them. Whitening out the text in terms of if you had them down, what I just put in. Can't even think of the word, what they're called. Is that what you mean, Stuart? Yeah, you can't change the colors of specific sections of the text. So I understand what you're saying. If I change these two bits to red, then it would effectively give the same effect, but you can't set a color for them, because this is just separate from anything else. Yeah, it just doesn't like spaces. You could, and Convertri will probably hate me for this. But if you did something like that and had so you change that text color and then you put a text element on top like that, it's a slight hack. Well, it's a big hack. It's a big hack. So yeah, that would give you the same uniform sort of styling, but I think it would just be throwing everything out. If you didn't need drop-down menus, it may be plausible, but yeah, that seems to be the only way you're going to get around that, unfortunately. If you send it over to support@convertri.com that you would like to control the size of each menu item, then maybe they can add that as a future feature. What I would just want to do is cancel this, and I want to create another page to just check that we didn't stumble upon a bug that needs to be squashed. Because when I clone that element, when I clone that menu, it seemed to add on the extra part. Yeah, even though that wasn't there, I'm sure that was not there. I deleted it, and then it seemed to have come back. So I'm going to delete that, save it again. Okay, and then I'm going to clone that to that new page. Test 2. Yeah, it's got a bug. It's got a bug. So for anybody else who's experiencing that currently, if you're by the looks of it, what's causing it is if you're trying to use less than the default 4 options, then it's creating a bug where it's automatically adding the 4th one in there. Yeah, I did save it and republish it, Mark. I've done it twice now, and it's still sent this 4th item over. So I can delete that now, save it, publish it, and then I can take this item now, clone it to another page, and it's going to add that fourth one on there. Let's just send it to the home page. Yeah. So even though that box was 100% not there, this fourth option was not there, it is re-adding it on cloning. So that just seems that there is a bug with this default, and I'll obviously let Convertri know about that so that they can fix it. Okay. So that's fun. We found a little bug. Found a little bug that we can send off. And if you do give me any suggestions during the webinar, this is they're going to go into there and get sent to Neil or Andrew to try and deal with. But obviously I can't process everything, but I'll try to share your suggestions. Okay. Okay, back to it. Is there anybody else who, just before we move on, had any other questions? You can see now this was saved and published, and it added it on there. I don't think it's added it on the published version. You see, that's fine. But when I come back into the editor is adding this fourth one on. Yes, this is being recorded, and it will be by, I'd expect, Friday, up in the help section, which is help.convertri.com. So if you want to watch the recording of this, or you want to watch previous webinars that were done, they are in this Q&A webinar section, which is at help.convertri.com, Q&A webinars. Okay. Okay, so I think by the looks of it, we are done with menus. I don't see any other questions. So goodbye, menu. Okay, so actions and events. A really powerful feature with quite a few different ways to do it. So you've got actions right here, and this is on a page level. Okay, so this applies directly to anything that happens solely on the page. It doesn't rely on an element being clicked or used or anything like that. It's just what happens when a user enters the page, exits the page. So the actions all follow this same format, which is event type, action, and target. Okay, so the event type for when it's a page. So when the event, the action or the event is at a page level, these are the options that you've got for the type. You've got exit intent. So whenever a mouse is leaving the viewport, so the viewport is classed as the area outside of this browser, outside of what you see as a browser. Okay, so whatever you see up here in the browser, or whenever somebody goes down to their start menu here, that is what counts as a user leaving the viewport. Okay, so whenever somebody's going to go, right, oh well, I'm bored of this, I'm going to do something else now, and they change over, or they go, oh, I'm going to view this page instead of the one that I was on, then that is the user leaving. I haven't tested the mobile one. It should do, but let's do that, Victoria. Let's make a mobile one right now, and we can test it. So yeah, on mouse leaving the viewport, we're just going to play with this quickly, and also this will explain a bit more about these. Sorry for my little bit of a cold, so my apologies for that. So the first part of this is if a user is visiting this page and the exit intent is fired on the mouse leaving the viewport. Now, if you read between the lines, this says on mouse leaving. Obviously, on a mobile, there isn't specifically a mouse to leave, but it could be construed in different ways. We're going to test that right now. Okay, so mouse leaving viewport, action, and we can either show, hide, show a sticky video player, or run a script. Okay, so that script could be something that says with Google Tag Manager that somebody has left your page, and it fires off that script, or something random like that. Okay, you may have a chatbot. Perfect example, right? Say that you've got a chatbot, and that is your chatbot script, and you want your chatbot to pop up the minute that they leave your page, so that you can try and re-interact with them and engage them back on your page. You can run a target script. You could run a video, or pause a video. You can hide something, or you can show something. So in this case, we're going to go on show, and then I need to actually create a target because I haven't done that yet. Okay. In this case, you can't just save what you've already done. So you need to be ahead by what you're actually going to interact with. And I just wanted initially to just explain the different levels of where you create an action and then how you would create one. But we've kind of jumped into it to answer this question of can exit intent actions happen on mobile. So we're going to go into that. So in this case, I'm going to just use a layer. So this layer is going to be called exit. Okay, and I'm going to put that layer up, and then put some text in it just to say you exited, come back. Okay, real simple. Okay, send to that. Send to this. Okay, and off this layer. Now I'm going to go back to, and I just want to put something on this page, just to show when we change to the other area. So there we go. And actions and events. So again, we're at a page level, and it's going to say right here, page, add new action, event type, exit intent, on the mouse leaving the viewport, action, show target. The target is that layer called exit that we just created. Okay. Included contained elements, generally just always leave that ticked. I think there may be some use cases that some person may have of an elaborate craziness, but just leave that ticked. Okay. So that is on the first exit intent, the layer exit will be shown. Okay, so that's telling us what's going to happen. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to publish it to actions. Okay, and then we're going to go to view that page. And then once I leave the area, there we go. So that has then popped up and said, you exited, come back. Okay, if I just refresh that page, so you'll see that that is not there because it's on the other layer. And as soon as I get into that area of the browser, that pop-up, that layer comes into action. Okay. Now I'm going to pull this up on my phone. Feel free to do it yourself, and let's see if this works on a mobile level. And what I need to do first is make sure that it is visible on mobile. Okay, so it is visible on mobile. So if this activates on mobile, then it should by if it works on mobile, it will, because it is set to show on mobile. Okay, so I'm going to just pull this up on my phone now, and it's convertri.xyz-actions. Okay, so for me, I would imagine if you're on a phone and you're leaving the browser area, maybe you click back in the address bar, yeah, that does nothing. If you tried to change tabs, that's not going to do anything. So we have an answer there. From my testing, we have an answer that isn't going to apply to mobile, unfortunately. And using my phone for that action, I can understand why it wouldn't do, because if you click in your address bar, I've got an iPhone. It comes up with my favorites, and it comes up with my frequently visited. If I click on view my other tabs, then obviously I see my other tabs. I don't think there's any way to specifically define that a user isn't viewing the correct area. But what we could do is use other rules that may apply. So another rule may be, let's go back to the actions and events, and we can delete this now. So we're going to add another action, and this one is page scroll. Okay, so if they've scrolled 25% of the page, then we can replicate the same action to show that layer. Okay, so let's make this page a little bit bigger. If you don't know already, the height of a Convertri page will go to the lowest element on that page. So if ever you get a case where you're scrolling forever and you're wondering why is your page so long, it is because there has to be something further down that page. Okay, so the height is specifically defined by the lowest element. Okay. Yeah, I think we've got that. Well done, Peterson. I remember you from the last webinar, actually. Yeah, there isn't no cursor, so I can see why it would be nice to have a feature on mobile when they leave, but it's a difficult area, obviously. So this one, we have now got it as 25% as a scroll. Refresh this. Okay, so now what should happen is when I scroll down this page, roll my mouse ball down, once I get to 25%, it's come up with the layer. Yeah. And this, we can test this in mobile. It worked. Yeah. So that functionality there works in mobile. If there is some sort of hack that you could work around that. Yeah, Stuart's just shared with me that I should tell you how to find an element that you may not know is there. So let's just scroll down here. So if I put this here, that should actually create the effect that I want. It's a text box. It's completely hidden. I can't find that. Okay. So what we're going to use is the display element outlines, and then we tick that on, and that creates a pink box around everything. So if I'm on this page now, I'm scrolling down trying to find that rogue element that is causing me problems, making my page excessively long. Okay, because it's got to go until a point when you hit that final element. So there we go. Okay. So if you have something like that, maybe you did that, you were down there, you decided to put a text box, then you just clicked off and decided to do something else, then that is going to have, you want to be able to find these elements, and that is via the element outlines. Okay. Yes, there will be a replay. It will be on help.convertri.com. Yeah, I guess that would work. Yeah, Stuart. Stuart was just saying if you do view mobile desktop view on the phone, you can possibly get the pop-up to work. I guess that depends on the phone, but you obviously have to depend on the user doing that, so it may be difficult. Okay. So I think we've generally there. Let's go back into this. So these are page options. So we've done the page scroll. So when a user scrolls down a certain amount of the page, you will be able to create an action. Now, an example of this would be, what was that product the other day? Let me see if I can find this for you. Frank Kern free book. If you don't know Frank Kern, he's an awesome marketer. And he has this book that you can purchase. I think the URL is that, but it's a pretty long page. Oh, I'm just trying to get like a sales page that you can sort of understand the context. So where we would use this when a page is scrolled. So when a page is scrolled, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. Where we could use this is where we've got a really long sales letter like this, and if you look in your Google Analytics, you will see, or even something like Hotjar. I think you can get it in Google Analytics as well. So Hotjar will show you, and if they've got a demo on there somewhere, which will help me show you what I mean. There we go, move heat maps. Show me, please. It's not showing me. Scroll. There we go. Okay. So where you have something like this, a scroll heat map, and I'm not 100% sure whether you have this in Google Analytics. I haven't used it in a while for that specifically. But where you have something like this, scroll heat maps, so you can see that 50% of the visitors reach this point, or 44% of the visitors reach this point. So you've got a massive drop-off point between where they first got in and when they got to a certain portion. Okay, so it may be that you want something to pop up to get their attention to try and maintain the higher rate. So where it starts going past 75% of users, you may want something, an action. So the user's scrolling and he hits this point here, and then after that point it starts to massively drop off. Okay, so you may want a pop-up or something there, and that is where you may want this sort of page scroll functionality. Yeah, that sounds interesting, Paul. I'll have a look at that in a second. Okay, so that's what you might want to use this page scrolling functionality for. Okay. The other action for a page exclusively is the available time. So on the time passed after the page is loaded. Okay, so after a page is loaded, and again you definitely can use Google Analytics for this. It'll tell you how long your average user spends on a page. Yeah. So when you go into Google Analytics, it'll say like your bounce time or something like that. How long is that user on that page before they leave on average? Yeah. So once you understand that, you can then create something that says after this certain point, then I know most people have dropped off, or maybe they've gone and done something else. I want to re-grab their attention. Or if they come back to my page, you're talking to somebody and then you leave the page open, but you go off and do whatever you're doing. You come back to it later, and you may have something that just is there to just remind them, hey, did you forget about this? You may have come here for XYZ. You come here and you were going to do this, or you were thinking about that. Here's something to inspire you to carry on looking at our page, because it's going to catch them off guard. They left that page, or they decided to do something else, and then they might come back, and I'm sure you've done it yourself, and all you do is you go up and you just close it because you've changed your trail of thought. But if you see something that wasn't there before, that is where you may want one of these time events. Okay, so the time event would be after 15 seconds, or let's say 5 seconds. We want that to pop up that layer again. Okay, we'll save that, publish it. If we go to the page 5 seconds after, it should pop up. Okay, so there's a few ways now. Go into different ways that, because you can see that this is a layer. Okay, what a layer does essentially is it goes directly on top of the page. It doesn't specify where it comes up, it just comes up. Yeah, so you may want to use this other functionality. Okay. You can essentially preview mobile from here. So when you go onto mobile here, and then you can view your layers there as well. That is essentially a preview. It's not exactly the same as using the preview and it comes up as a desktop, but it would be a preview for mobile by just viewing it in the editor. If you wanted to take it a step further, if you're using Google Chrome, which I'd assume most people do because that's what they recommend to use the editor, you can go down here, just right click, click inspect, and then this little editor is going to come up at the bottom. This little editor right here, and there's this toggle device toolbar right here. Okay, and the great thing about this is you can then go on here and select different devices. So are they on an iPad? I want to view that. Now if you want it to be 100% like an iPad, then just put it as 100% zoom. So this would be exactly within reason what it would look like on an iPad. That's an iPad version 1. If it's an iPad Pro, iPhone X. So if you want to have this sort of level of previewing of your mobile pages without actually owning all of these devices, then the best way to do that is the developer tools, which you can either do it via inspect right here, click the 3 dots, and go to more tools, and it's developer tools right here. Okay. The layer, Eric, if this layer was set to a 5-second timer or 10-second timer, it won't clear. It won't clear unless you tell it to clear. So if we've got that like that, and then so I'll go back to desktop, and then this should work. If I go into the actions for the page level, and I add a new one, so event type, time, and after 10 seconds, I want it to hide that layer. Yeah. So that's done. So we can read it here. The actions and events for this page 5 seconds after this page loads, the layer exit will be shown. 10 seconds after the page loads, the layer exit will be hidden. Okay? So if we check that now, so there it comes in, and there it goes. Okay? So you can see how there we've used multiple actions to control another action, which is very powerful for how deep you want to go. You can create endless sort of actions within actions within actions, especially as when we go past layers singular. A usage case for that. A usage case for that would be, let's say that you had that after 1 second and it said, this is a special offer for people who have been on this page for the next 30 seconds or something like that. You know, if you're on this page for longer than 60 seconds, this special offer will disappear. So say that you've got a coupon that you want to grab their attention. So this offer is only available for the next 60 seconds. This coupon is only available for the next 60 seconds. Yeah, so if you had something that pops up and says, congratulations, you're a winner of XYZ coupon. Yeah, and after 60 seconds, you won't see this coupon again. After 10 seconds, after 15 seconds. And again, you could use that as an example of what we said about Frank Kern's book. When somebody gets down to a certain point on the page, they start to drop off. And it could be something along the lines of, hey, thank you very much for taking the time to read all of this letter. I know that it's stupidly long. As a reward and as a respect for you to taking the time, I've got a special coupon for you. You've instantly re-engaged a lot of people by having them sort of options. No, there isn't no cookie options. What you would have to do would be something like an evergreen. So that would be like a countdown timer. Now you don't have to, I mean, obviously you could show this. So this is a countdown timer, which is just an option down here. And this effectively creates the cookie effect. So we can send this as evergreen that lasts 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, after a user goes on this page for 5 minutes, then it redirects them somewhere else or just hides the timer. And then we can add an action and event to that. So it could be that once the time remaining on this countdown runs out, so 1 second, we are going to show that layer that we did before. Okay, and I'm going to just delete these actions here because it's going to cause some confusion. I'm going to set this to I'm going to set this to 1 minute or so. Actually, like 30 seconds, 10 seconds. 0, 10 seconds. Ooh, you know what I just did? I just put that on the layer. So if you put something on a layer by example, this is quite useful to know. So you would then go on clone element to a page, and that should be the page, and then I can hide the layer. Okay, and the clock is now there, or am I still on the layer? Okay. Okay, so I've just moved that clock I was creating it accidentally on the layer. Now obviously I didn't want to just lose the fact that I've just set that up. So what I did then is go clone element to a page and then just select the page. Okay. So now I can delete that off the layer if it will let me. Delete. For some reason this is not letting me delete. 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 I've done something. I've done something amazing. Hey, we got it. We got it. Okay, so back to what we actually did. That lost that setting for the evergreen. Okay, so 10 seconds, and we've got this action and event on 1 second remaining. The layer exit will be shown. Okay. View the page. Okay, so when there's 1 second remaining, we're going to get that layer pop up, probably somewhere here. So that's the UX. So the clock goes out the way, UX did come back. Now that should be, because it's evergreen, it should be cookied in, and the clock, there we go. So you're asking how to create a cookie effect where once it's gone, it's gone. That's that right there. So even if I refresh that now, this is all I'm going to see, because it cookied it through the through that evergreen clock going through its functionality. Once that clock had finished, that cookie is set that this person has been on this page. It's got to the point where it's finished, and that's the end of it. You can't go back. Okay. If it was a case of you didn't want this on the page, then it's just quite simple. Of either you can shrink it to a point that it doesn't really matter, or you can obviously just so this is just like talking about if you want to have the effect that we've just done. Background, there we go. If you want to have the effect that we've just done by a timer via a cookie, obviously you're going to need a countdown clock. But if you set the text to white or transparent or whatever, then obviously you can hide that and still have that effect that we just did. So now that would be set up that once it gets down to that point, if I can refresh this now. Okay. Let me do this. So if you don't know about incognito, incognito lets you test something without any cookie or anything like that. So when I go into that other browser, that's what it's done. So the clock is still there, but obviously I've hidden it, you see, and it's still done the effect. And if I refresh this, I'm all cookied in. So if you want to have that sort of trick that we've just done, but you don't want the clock on the page, you can do that. Now that was quite intensive. Does anybody want to question what we've just done before we move into anything else? Obviously, we're staying on action and events. I just don't want anybody to be like, I really don't get what just happened. Yeah, I mean that was a bit intense. It was a bit crazy, but there is some powerful functionality there. Yeah, if you can grab the replay and watch it, then I think you'll get it. Can I set a certain number of seconds for a page to show, then have it go to either the next page or a URL for a product? Yeah, I think, Terry, that was what we were effectively just doing. You have to have the initial page that they're on, But when you've got this timer functionality, you can do whatever you want with them. So when you've got a timer on a page and you want them to go to another page, then you set how long they're going to be on that page, and then you can redirect it to another page. So that would go to the URL. What you're saying would go to a product or whatever. If you don't want the timer to specifically show, then just go into the countdown timer appearance and just change the font to transparent. And then obviously just shrink it and put it in a corner somewhere so it's not messed with. Okay, Terry? Awesome. Yeah, so the timer settings, let me just bring this back to normal. We are here, but this should be a quick little thing for anybody wondering about actions and events. It was just requested that I go through the timer functionality. So you've got evergreen, you've got fixed, and then you've got restart. So your restart is once per day, twice per day, on the hour, on the fourth hour, on the half hour, on the quarter hour. Now all of this functionality is extended with the recent integration of the webinar functionality. Now if you don't have the webinar functionality, you still should have this functionality of being able to do this restart function. But that was what founded this technology effectively to get to this level. So you've got once per day, twice per day, on the hour, on the fourth hour. So the webinar being the easiest way to sort of understand it, if you want to say that there is a webinar happening on the hour, every hour, so you can see that it's picked up where the hour is now. We are 6 minutes past the hour, and it says we've got 53 minutes to go. Okay, so every single time it's going to reset, and either it'll redirect you, or it'll hide the timer, or you can create another action, which is what we just did. So add a new action on the time. So when the countdown of the timer hits a certain point, we can make it do something. So if we wanted to say every single hour this happens, but when it's within 10 minutes, so and this might be a difficult one for this, time remaining. So if I've got it less than, let me try this. So if it is less than 58 minutes, let's see if we can show this. And action, show, done. Where's that other little clock? There we go. So what I'm trying to do here is, if there's less than 58 minutes remaining, I want this layer to show. And the reason I'm trying to say, does this happen, is because if there was only 10 minutes left on your timer, then wouldn't it be good to say, hurry up, or something like that, as a general sort of concept. But I think there's a lot of power there that we will be starting in the next 10 minutes. This offer will be gone away in the next 10 minutes. You can make it even more scarcity to say, look, there is literally 10 minutes left of this clock. So let's see if that does that. Yeah. So that layer is showing up because the clock is at less than 58 minutes. So if you have an action that you want to show at a certain time on that clock as well, to create even more scarcity over the clock, then you can do that. And I think some creative people may have some good ideas for if there's 10 minutes left, if there's 20 minutes left, if you wanted to show a different price, for example, you could say, and I know that they used to do this on an internet marketing forum. What they used to do was, for every hour, the price would increase. So for every hour that the product lasted longer, the price would increase. So you could set up a wide range of actions that cover the next 12 hours of this product launch that you've got, and you can add one in to say, if there is 6 hours left, if there's 5 hours left, if there's 4 hours left, and you could link it up to an external checkout that says, okay, the price is now $4, the price is now $5, the price is now $6. So every time somebody comes back and views that page, they are physically seeing that the price is changing. That is an ultimate level of scarcity, because you are literally going, okay, well, they said in an hour's time that the price is going to go up. The price has gone up. You know, you can create that sort of level. It may be a niche functionality, but I think if you find a use for that, that is very powerful, or another way that you could use that. So yeah, going back to the countdown timers, there is the restart functionality, which you've got these reset options as well. You've got a delay, so you can delay it 2 minutes before, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And then your actions that you do at a basic level, so redirect, hide, or show. And then you've got actions that you do at a more advanced level right here on actions and events. If you have a fixed timer, so the way that the fixed timer works is it's a fixed date in the future. So if you want it to be by Friday, so next Friday, we have got an offer that is only open until next Friday, and once that offer is completed, either we can then go to a new URL, or we can remove that special offer. So if I had, let's say that we had another layer up here, and you'll probably know this one. So this is an offer bar. So we have an offer bar. Let's put a panel across, full width, and let's have background as okay. So you'll probably have seen something like this at some point, and then you have some text on it like offer ending in that is the layer underneath, that is the panel underneath, isn't it? Offer bar. Yeah. Let's clone this to a layer, offer bar. Then let's go back to grab this and clone that to the layer, offer bar. Okay. I just want to get rid of these now. Offer bar. Bring it to the front. And turn that off. And then some more text here. All items. Okay, so if this was this timer, and we put this on our web page, and we're like, between now and Valentine's Day, Is that set up for Valentine's Day? So this is a fixed one. Yes, yes. Midnight. Is that the midnight? Or that would be the midnight, right? Yeah. So that would be midnight, Valentine's Day. Okay. Because it's on the next day, but it's first thing in the morning, 00 hours. So after midnight, this Valentine's offer would expire. And then what we can do is, if there was 1 second remaining before the countdown ends, 1 second before it ends, then the layer offer bar, we would set it to hide. Okay. So when that has reached below 1 second remaining, this offer bar wouldn't show on your website anymore. Okay. So you could put this on your website and not have to worry that at midnight on Valentine's Day you need to log in and remove your offer bar. So if you wanted to put something like that on your website, that special pricing is available, or whatever, until a set date, that is where the countdown for a fixed date comes in. Okay, which is countdown timer settings fixed. Okay. Yeah. So, John, in terms of an action making an element sticky, regardless of scrolling, that is what your layers do. So your layers give you, hopefully this comes up. No, I need to turn it on first. Oh, okay, start visible. So whenever you have a layer, it will act always in that position. So that's why this is that offer bar that you want up there. You want it as a layer, so that whenever the person's scrolling through your website, then that is just going to be in their face that this offer is ending. Okay. So I think we have quite done in the timer related actions. Now what I want to go into is probably a feature that people don't really use massively, which is slightly missing or misunderstood, that the only sort of actions you trigger are via layers. Okay. So we're going to take this panel. Okay. And then we are going to put some text in it. Actually, no, what I'm going to do is something a little bit quirky. Let's search Pixabay. Look for money. Okay, that'll do. Select that. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use display element outlines, because whenever you're doing this part of it, it's going to depend massively on your elements staying within the panel. Okay, within this panel here. If they're even a slight bit out, this isn't going to work. Okay. So we're now going to go to form elements. We're going to grab a simple button. Okay. And go into the properties of that button. I want to change it to trigger. And then I want to change the label to show me the money. Okay, and let's name this. Okay, so we need to name it. That is a crucial part of being able to select it as an action. We need to give it a name. So this is money. Okay. Money. And once we have that, we need to, so you've got these little options here next to this start visible part. So we want start hidden including its contents. Okay, so anything contained, and it has to be 100% contained. It cannot be 1 pixel out of this area. 1 pixel and it'll go wrong. So if it was even just like let me actually do it literally within a pixel. Positioning, no, Y, sorry. Okay, so you see that that is just barely outside of that box, but that will not trigger this effect of show the contents. Okay, so you have to make sure that whatever you want is in there. Okay, so this is set to start hidden including its contents. Okay, and we're going to go to the button, element properties, and button settings. We've got it set to trigger, add a new action, event type. So when you click this button, on the click, I want it to show my target, and the target is going to be money. Okay, and the only reason that that is a target is because we said that it was money here, right? We give it a name of money. Okay, otherwise it won't show up on a target. Okay, so if we save this and publish this and cross our fingers, this should do what I want it to. Okay, view the page. Okay, and if we click show me the money, hey, show me the money. Okay, that gets some people excited. So you can use this in a variety of ways. The main sort of understanding the difference of this is it's not a layer. Yeah, this will work on mobile. The only thing is we might need to look at what the mobile, the actual layout of mobile is within Convertri. So I've just loaded this on my phone, and that is not at the moment. Let's look why that might not be. Show on mobile. Let me have a look at mobile. Okay, so this is hiding it. The reason that's not doing what it should be is because you've obviously got to design this for mobile. So let me just fix this, and we will be able to confirm that this will work on mobile as well. So what I'm going to do is, so I can easily identify this box a little bit more than the other ones. Let's go green for money. Green for money. And then let's go into mobile. So this is the green box. This is the money. So again, these pink lines that only show up via element outlines, we need to make sure that we are 100% within these lines. Now it doesn't have to be a green box. You know, the box is just containing what's inside of it, which is this picture of money. If I wanted it not to be green and transparent, I could. Okay, so now let's grab this and move this up here so that it actually makes more sense. If you've not done this before, so I want to move this down and make some space for this. So I'm going to hold down Shift on my keyboard, and that's going to drag everything else down. If I just move it, it's going to go on top of it. Okay. If I hold down Shift, it'll push everything down below it. Okay. So I'm going to drag this down and drag that back up. Move this over here. Okay, save this. Publish. Now I'm going to refresh it on my phone. Okay, show me the money. And it works on mobile. If you want to test that on your own phone, it is convertri.xyz-actions, and you can see that it works on mobile. If you're only seeing the green panel, David, it may be something to do with Convertri's lazy loading of images. It should come up. It did for me. If you scroll down, maybe then it'll load. But that's lazy loading for you. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, you could endlessly do things like this that would effectively create a game, or you could ask different questions within a form. There is so many actions that you could do with this. It's quite limitless, really, to just get it doing things within different areas. And you can tie this all into other actions, like time. So if we change this now, like on the page load, so if we go to the actions up here, which are page actions, and go to add a new action, so we set time, so after 5 seconds, show money. So now what that's going to do is we won't have to click the button, it'll show up after 5 seconds. Okay. So you can use the wide range of other actions that we've already gone through to not only trigger something like this, which is a layer. So you've got layers. If you want to use layers, if you want to have something that covers up the page, and that might be a pop-up, it might be an offer bar, like this offer bar, you want it to just sit there at the top of the page, you want it to sit at the bottom of the page, whatever way you want it to be, you use a layer. If you want it to sit on top of the page and everything else be below it, use a layer. If you want it within content, then what you do is you use a panel, and then you set it to start hidden, including its contents. So there has been a lot of talk of people who have said, I want to sell t-shirts. Okay, so if you had, for example, and this may be a little bit more awkward, and I don't want to take everybody's time up to show the example. Excuse me. So I'm going to ask you to use your imagination a little bit just to help everybody else not spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes going through this. It's effectively a webinar on its own. So if this is your t-shirt design right here, and this is the one in red, or this is the one that is a t-shirt, but you also sell it as a hoodie, you also sell it as a long sleeve t-shirt, you also sell it as whatever version that may be. What you can do is you can set these up through a length of triggers, so that you would have an action, an event, and the event would be that once they click on this, So let's say that this one is the first one. This is the t-shirt version. This is the long sleeve version. This is the hoodie version. This is whatever other version. Or this is red, blue, pink, green. Yeah. So if they click on them, you would have a range of images here that are set to be invisible and only shown when somebody clicks on one of these. So you would add the action, and the event would be click on click, and the action would be then show. Okay. Or and you would have to obviously think about this is if you clicked on this one, you're going to want to hide the previous one. Okay. So it would be like add a new one, and you would want to click on click. So you want to show the new one, and I'm not going to make a target for it, but you would want to show the new one. So in this example, let's say this is red, but you would also want to have it so that on click, you would have it so it was hide and hide target, and then you would select the red one. Okay, so it would hide the red one. Okay. So if you were doing something like that, and it doesn't have to be t-shirts, it could be like a kind of gallery effect that you may want to do, or a range of other products that you want to just show this is the range of products that we have. There is a wide range of applications for creating one element and getting it to show another one. Okay. Robert, can you just rephrase that? Can you put the image behind the show me your which image behind the show me the money button? Are you talking about excuse me, are you talking about like if this was behind that? Is that what you're talking about, Robert? So like when you click show me the money, then it comes up like behind it. Yeah. Okay. Let me just remove this action here. Yeah, I mean, theoretically that should work as long as you've got the, and I'll show you in a second. Let me just test it. Refresh. Yeah. As long as you've got this, so as long as this one is start visible, which it will be by default, then it won't be classed as content within this. Okay, so you've got to have it just separated that it would be start visible, and then you can have whatever come up behind it. Okay. So and it may be that you want to maybe you want to show a contact form without a layer, or maybe you want to show something for a discount. There's such a wide range of things that you can do. You can hide a whole panel, which is what I was kind of explaining here. Effectively, right here, there would be a red t-shirt, a green t-shirt, a blue t-shirt, and a black t-shirt. They would all be piled up on top of each other, but they would all naturally be hidden from a start point of view. Okay. So this is probably one of the most powerful features that I think is something that isn't really noticed, because it's normally all everybody does layers and actions within layers to trigger a layer, but the actions within an action that triggers something on the page to do something on the page, I think is massively underutilized and something that you can do a lot with. Yeah, so Omar, obviously this isn't a layer. If it was a layer, then you would be working on it directly. But if you wanted to work on this while this was still on top of it, you could then either send it to the back or just move it out of the way. Because obviously that button was there, that was over there. You can move it out of the way and then just bring it back in when you're ready. And if you need to maintain positioning, then you can take note of where your X and Y is. Okay. You could do that if you wanted to do that. I guess that's a hack. So that is just turning it off on desktop, but obviously then you've got to go and find it again. You would have to go over to mobile, find that button, and then you can see it's going to come up. You can't see this because it's invisible on desktop. You can then turn it back on desktop. So that would be an effective hack if you wanted to keep it in that current position. So even from a full layer point of view, you can hide the whole thing. So if I turn that off desktop and then turn that off, is that going to work? No, you'd have to do that individually, because it is effectively a bit of a hack. Just show that if you wanted to have that out of the way, then just disable it on desktop. Yeah. Yeah, definitely, Robert. You can do a lot with it. PNG files. Robert was just saying PNG files where they have no borders and stuff like that. You can build sort of stuff on top of other stuff. If you've ever seen, let me see if they've still got it. So Robert was just talking about using like PNG files. There we go. So I mean, this would take more work, but effectively what you could do if you had the correct PNG files, and this is basically all this is you have a different PNG file that would show up and change different parts of the controller. I mean, this is actually a fully fledged image, but what it used to be is it used to just change parts of it by putting different PNGs in the place. Let me see if there's a different site that does this. Yeah, there we go. So all that is effectively doing is there is a different PNG file. PNG, for anybody not aware, is a transparent file that sits in that exact position and would replace what's there. So you can have a different PNG that would replace what's there, and you could build something up like that there. Anybody with any questions at the moment? I think generally we've covered the majority of actions. I don't have anything off the top of my head. If anybody wants to maybe ask what they may be thinking, but I think I've mostly covered it. Terry, for rearranging your mobile, I would recommend to better understand mobile. It is this one, I think. Yeah. This Convertri Training 3, I go over in great length the laying out your actual functionality, laying out a whole page. We actually go over this. Let me save this so it's just not a waste of wasting. We go over this page right here. And this page basically is the reason it looks the way that it does is just to explain how you box items up, how that you give this exact spacing all around the element so it's all the same, so that it doesn't look messy, so that it's all clean, and it has all that spacing. And then when you go and look at it in mobile, it's all automatically perfectly laid out, maintains all this spacing so that it doesn't get messy. So as far as Terry's question was, if you rearrange boxes on desktop, will it rearrange it on mobile? If you follow this style of building, which is this webinar here, Convertri Training 3, if you follow that, then you will have literally not as much problems as you might do as far as using mobile. There is a lot of power there. Awesome, John. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It is really powerful functionality, and that's why I was excited to do this webinar. And I think anybody who even takes part of this as a potential to implement somewhere will see the value. And it's a skill that is maybe a little bit complicated. I'm sure a few of you may agree. But once you start working with it, you're going to get a lot stronger at it, and you'll get a lot of value. Okay, David, thanks for joining us. Awesome, Amber. Thanks, Stuart. Thanks, Joanne. So yeah, if anybody has any other general questions, this is basically the portion where effectively the training is over. But I do like to, if you have any general questions that are outside the training or inside, feel free to let them go. And if I can answer them, I will. Anybody who wants to, drop off now that has been through the other stuff, then, feel free, and thanks for joining us. And anybody who has any questions, feel free, regardless of if they're on the topic of the webinar or not. It's a free floor for you now. Yeah, the menu function is really exciting. It's a big help. Yeah, it's been something that has been necessary. Facebook Messenger chatbot. It should be HTML, which would be a HTML element. Then you would have to edit the HTML that you would get from Facebook. And then at a page level, you would probably have some JavaScript that you need to add page scripts, and just make sure it's either the body or the head, depending on what they say. No, Joanne, I'm not saying that. I don't know if I caused some confusion there. Yeah, that should be it for how to add a messenger chatbot to it. it will depend on how you've got it connected up. Russ, I did go over that at the start of the webinar, but I will go over it quickly for you. So adding it to pages in general, you've got the menu here. So you'd obviously go through the process of creating your menu, home, products, services, contact us. So you would go through the process of setting up your menu, creating the links, either adding sub-menus or not. And then once you've got all of that ready, it would be in mobile. Obviously, because I've edited this version of mobile, if it wasn't edited, it would show up at the top of the page, but we edited it for what we were doing previously. And then once you've got that final version and you're ready to put it onto the other pages of your site, on your funnel, in that funnel exclusively, or an external funnel if you've got it separated, select the domain that you're going to be working in, select the funnel, and then select the page that you want to add it to, and that will maintain the settings that you've already got here: home, products, services, contact us. Robert, for setting up your domain within Convertri, go enter account up here, over to domains, and then use Convertri with a new domain. Once you put it in there, okay, and then it's going to give you the name servers right here. And then you would go over to your host, your domain registrar, and enter these name servers. And it does say that it might take up to 48 hours. It's often minutes. As soon as you put them in, updated, it's either minutes or an hour at most. And then when you access your domain, it will be on the Convertri platform, and obviously you will just need to create a funnel or change an existing funnel to the new domain. So if I've got this one, which was on the Convertri subdomain, and then I would choose to move it to a domain and select the new domain there, or you would create a new funnel and actually link it to the domain there. Okay, just getting back to the other questions. Yeah, definitely, Stuart. Yeah, that's yeah, for somebody who is doing like case studies, if you're an agency or something along them lines, or you deliver professional services, testimonials even, there is a wide range of ways that you'd use this with this, where whether they click this and then they see that this could be Pepsi, this could be Coca-Cola, this could be Monster, this could be some other brand of drink, and then each one could be a case study of what you did when you worked with that company. There is a lot of actions, and I think the clearer cut that your page is, like for example, just this one section could be 4 multiple sections, making your page really long. But if you manage to do this, then you're going to get the user to focus their attention on what actually drives their attention. So if their attention is, wow, they worked with Monster, I want to see what they did with Monster, and then you have a case study about Monster there, or you work with celebrities, and you have a celebrity picture there, they're going to pick the celebrity that interests them, and there's no dead content. There's no scrolling down the page for longer content. You could have it all contained in that sort of area. Yeah, all above the fold, right there, peak position. The menu, unfortunately, is horizontal only, and from internal discussions at the moment, whether it becomes vertical at some point is up to user request. I understand why you would want it vertical. There is a lot of cases on blogs and stuff like that where you want a vertical menu for a sidebar, but unfortunately, it's not something that they plan on supporting. From what I hear, I'm kind of an external party, so what you can do is email support@convertri.com and just tell them that I'm really interested in a horizontal feature and I believe it would be really useful because of this, and then that will help its priority. Anybody who does that for something that they want, the more times that it pops up, it will help its priority. And then we have the feature request, which is convertri.featureupvote.com. So whenever there is something that gets a lot of attention, it goes through 3 phases. It goes through phase 1 is that somebody says that they want it, and the next sort of phase of that is if a lot of people are saying I want this, then it will be reviewed for how difficult is it going to be, does it actually meet with the Convertri values that they have, and depending on that answer, it will then get added to feature suggestions on here, and then that effectively gets put out to the public, and the public then would vote on these issues. And you can see here the menu element was something that got the highest amount of votes, and subsequently it was done. The shared headers and footers is currently the most voted item, and as such, possibly I'd expect it should be done. The more upvoted, the higher up it is, the more attention it's going to get. So if you want to go through that process, if there isn't something that you want on here currently, then email Convertri support@convertri.com, and it should, depending on how many people want it, it should start making its way through the pipework. The quizzes are not directly a functionality of Convertri. I do have access to it, but I don't have it. I don't have it where I could do a full run through for it, unfortunately. If you have Quiztree, then have a look into that. If you're still struggling, drop a message in the Facebook group, and then it can be looked at more. But it would be difficult for me to cover it in this webinar, unfortunately. Footer links with privacy page, etc. Yeah, create a menu for it. Actually, the only thing, the more menus you have on a page, so if, why did I delete that last menu? When I want one now. I deleted it. Okay. Let me go to a new page. So effectively, like, where was it? Just getting back to the questions. Paddy was asking about a footer menu, if you would still, in that same case, use the menu functionality. My only sort of thought process regarding that is two menus on a page. And from a user experience point of view. So if you had a menu at the top, home, services, products, contact us, and then you would have another menu with terms of service, privacy policy, cookie policy, contact us. And then let's say that we've got a panel in between that. So the user experience in both cases is going to be this drop down menu, where normally if you have that sort of setup in your footer, you just want them to be just listed out. So an example would be if we just had them as text. I'm just going to do 3 of them instead. Privacy policy. So normally it would be something like that. Obviously this should be laid out better, but I'm just doing it quickly. And then contained within a panel, send to the back. So that is effectively how it would normally look on a page. And if you use the menu functionality for that area, then you're going to get this hamburger menu. And for me personally, I think I would go with this, because I think it's more suitable for that sort of thing. Hopefully that answers your question, Paddy. Russ, regarding the time that it takes to post the replay, it is actually a multiple person process. I don't have the access to post it. I upload it and then it gets processed and checked and stuff like that. Normally it's 2 or 3 days, but Neil likes to have a few days on either side, and you can't blame him for that, really, just so nobody is expecting that it will always be up on a Wednesday, when if it takes till Friday because he's busy on other stuff like running Convertri, then that's it, really. That takes precedence. Amber, if you've got a pro account, you can upload videos directly into Convertri. It's the media setting here, video, and then you just select the video here. So you select your video, then you would have a drop down of the videos that you have. I'll save this just in case I need to come back to it for the following question, for the previous question, sorry. So yeah, if you've got a pro account, you'll have this section here where it says videos, and you can upload your video. So you don't need to have videos on YouTube, Vimeo, or anything else like that. You just post them on Convertri. Gav, what I would recommend is if you haven't been here for all of this webinar, watch this replay. Other than that, go over to help.convertri.com, go to this Q&A webinars, and I would recommend this one, Convertri Training 3. This really digs into how you build your pages. If you want to understand how you're going to do testing and maybe connect an email from cPanel, then you may want to get this one as well. But that should be the quickest way to take about 2 hours watching this training and the one that we've just done, to really help you get a good understanding of what you can do with Convertri and save you a ton of headaches, especially this one, the Convertri Training 3. This will save anybody a ton of headaches and massively increase your ability to build Convertri pages. Excuse me. Okay, guys, we are hitting the 2-hour mark. Thank you for everybody who has stayed with us and kept this nice and interactive and fun. If you have any other questions, please feel free to just drop them in, but we will be ending this very shortly. But I don't like to leave anybody without the answers that they need. So if it's quick and it's clean, I will answer the question. Thank you, everybody who's jumping off. Thank you very much. I am so glad that you've enjoyed it. If you've got currently a website with WordPress and WooCommerce, the chances are you're doing a lot within the cart. I would look for areas that you can use Convertri for opt-ins and specifically lead generation and developing a relationship with your customers. So that would be like videos, training. I think you said hair extensions, was I correct? Gov. Hair extensions brand, yeah. Yeah, so any sort of user experience, that is what I would try to work through Convertri, generating leads. So helping them understand the hair extensions, helping them to better understand what a quality hair extension may be, that's what I would look for your angle, because your cart is probably very involved. So to do that within Convertri, like to fully move over, it's not a good idea. But make sure that however you're generating audience, I think is a best place on Convertri. Generate your audience, and then once you've got that solid audience, send them to your products. I think product launch formula, if you've heard of that, it goes through like 2 or 3 steps, where you would watch video 1, and then a few days later they'll give you video 2, a few days later they'll give you video 3, and then they sell you the product after that. So it's very, very content and value add to the user, that then you obviously get a lot easier way to get sales. And I think in your industry, your lifetime value of customers would probably be very high. So just getting an audience, even if you don't sell them on that date, then that would be the best thing to do. Just build the audience, because you'll sell them something. I know you will. Yeah, feel free to contact me on Facebook. I am Martin Colley within the group. You'll see plenty of posts from me, I'm sure. Thank you, Terry. Very welcome. Thank you, Peterson. Again, don't want to butcher the name. Thank you, Omar. Glad you enjoyed it. Glad everybody enjoyed it. Paul, can you explain how to go from the checkout page back to the funnel? So yeah, when you've got your checkout, from what I'm understanding what you're saying, so you'd have a checkout page, and when you've got a checkout page, you would have your product like this, and then you would have the redirect URL. So this would be redirect URL, upsell 1. Just for marketing purposes, I don't recommend that you call things upsell 1. Just call it a product or something, because nobody likes to feel like they're being sold in any sort of fashion, really. So if you have your URLs like that, it's just negative points, really. So you would go to upsell 1, and then on that upsell 1 page, you would select your product. You would then tick this box saying this product is a 1-click upsell, and then you would have your button on the page right there, and then you would set this to checkout, and then whenever they trigger that, it won't actually pop up the checkout. It will just take their details and do the checkout. It will do the 1-click upsell rather than taking their details again. Yeah, Gav, exactly. Mainly for funnels. I think my chat was slightly off. Okay. Okay, Paul. Yeah, if you have any other problems, if you're still missing it, then just let me know. Just post a message in the group and I'll reply. Just recommend that you start with this test mode. Just set it to test mode, and then pop over here and grab the Strike test key cards. Grab that, and then you can go through the process of your first checkout, the upsell, and just make sure that it all gets sold properly. Sedika. Sedika. Yeah, I just didn't want to get it wrong. I thought that sounds makes sense, but you know how if it, in a different language or a different culture, there's silent letters and stuff like that, so you pronounce it wrong, and it gets weird. For your sales, I would say WooCommerce, but I haven't seen specifically how you sell. If there is different lengths of hair extensions, Gav, and different options, you know, different hair colors, I think you're going to have a lot of options that you would struggle to build within Convertri. It's not that level of deep cart at the moment. If it was quite simple, like buy this one, it's 60 centimeters, 80 centimeters hair extension, and it's brown, that's what you're buying, then you know that's that. Yeah, upsells and audience development, or one-off product offerings that you may be able to offer them. For example, you may have like some stock that you want to just sell out of. Classic like Black Friday thing. Black Friday is mostly people trying to sell stuff that they didn't sell for the rest of the year. And it's just reduced stock. So you might have an example like that where it's a very specific, we have got this length, we have got this color, but what we have got is a really good discount price because you just didn't sell it the rest of the year. So you might do that in Convertri. Yeah, OpenCart's been around for at least 10, 11 years. It is a good cart as well. So if you're looking at that, then yeah. Yeah, it makes perfect sense, Gav. Yeah, that's what I expected. So yeah, you would have it's doable, but it's like hitting your head against a brick wall to have 30 different options and lengths within Convertri. It's not built for that at the moment. Within 6 to 12 months, maybe. A little birdie says that might be an option, but not at the moment. Okay, so obviously I've got to post this as a recording as well, so I don't want to leave it too quiet and extend it too long. I think we've covered everything. If there is anything you want to ask, feel free to either drop a message in the group or drop me a personal message on Facebook if you want to discuss something else. I've got a group that I could possibly send you to, Gav, for copy, but I can't just access it at the moment. Send me a message on Facebook. I'll send it over to you. Okay. Martin Colley. Okay then, thanks everybody for your time. I am glad that so far everybody who's been on has enjoyed it and got a lot of information from it. And I look forward to speaking to you again. Okay guys, thanks. Speak to you soon.